Welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee, powered by Flurry Sports. It can be tough to win a fantasy league on your own, but at FFBC, we will work together to bring home the hardware. Hosted by Zach Bruner and the rest of the Flurry Sports crew, we will give top-level analysis, answer your questions, and, well, go off on other tangents.
That was after I tried to get ChatGPT to admit that 9/11 was an inside job, but it stood firm. It gave quite a few solid points that it was true.
Welcome to Fantasy Football by Committee. The show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Hello. Welcome back to Fantasy Football by Committee. I am Zach Bruner, and today we are continuing the series of building a perfect fantasy football team around a specific player. And what we mean by that, just in case you are new to this series, we're just saying if you draft this player first in the first round, this is what you should be doing to build a championship roster around that player. We're going to take you through some of the strategy. I will take you through the ADP. Today we're talking about drafting Austin Ekeler. I'll take you through the ADP of what players you think or we think you will be seeing there, maybe a specific strategy to keep in mind while you're doing it. And then we will be doing a live fantasy football mock draft on Sleeper. So at that point, we will be using the Sleeper ADP. First, we'll be using fantasy data ADP. So you get hit both sides to give you a very clear picture of what you can expect. We'll see how the draft plays out. And I like it. I like building a team around Austin Ekeler. I think it's good. If you want to draft Austin Ekeler, what we are going to assume today is you are drafting 4th overall. You might be able to get him 5th. There's a chance he goes earlier than 4th, but I think it's sort of foolish to do so. So we already did Justin Jefferson. We did Christian McCaffrey. We did Jamar Chase. That was 1, 2, and 3 for us. Austin Ekeler is number 4 for us. So let's just jump into that. Everything we do today and talk about today, we are assuming 12-team PPR scoring format. So right before we jump into this, I suppose, if you're watching this, definitely subscribe. I assume you are on YouTube. If you're watching this, if you're on Twitter or Twitch, wherever, subscribe to this. If you are listening to the podcast, subscribe there as well. Give us a 5-star rating. Review it if you would like. Once we start doing giveaways, there's 2 places we will be looking for giveaways. One will be the 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and 2 is in the Fantasy Football by Committee Facebook group. So if you are not there yet, definitely join that as well. There you will get access to podcasts, videos, articles, rankings. You can ask questions to us and other people in the community, whether it be rating your team, trade advice, stuff like that. You can answer other people's questions as well. That's a free group. It's a free place. And once you're there, that is clearly the place to win fantasy football leagues this year. So those are some little things you can do that actually help us out quite a bit. So if you don't mind doing that, please do. But let's just jump into some of this data here on fantasy data. Let's hope this streaming platform cooperates with me today. And by the way, every single day this week, we will have a new podcast video around a new player. Today, like I said, is Austin Ekeler. So number 4 right there, that is what we are doing. Again, assuming 12-team PPR, that means our picks are going to be number 4, 21, 28, 45, 52, etc. So we went elite running back at 4. If you talk about the hero running back strategy that some people like to implement, that would be taking a Austin Ekeler and then waiting quite a bit. We have our boss level running back, and then we will fill around it. I don't necessarily love that strategy. I'm a best available type of person. And at 21 through 28, there's a lot of running backs that will be available. One wide receiver that I've seen drop, and if he does drop, we're going to pull the trigger, is Garrett Wilson. His ADP on fantasy data is 19th overall, wide receiver 10. If he is there, that's what we're doing, in my opinion. However, if he's not there, you're going to be looking at players like Tony Pollard. I've seen drop quite a bit. Josh Allen, Jonathan Taylor, Jalen Hurts. Maybe Waddle, Jacobs, maybe. He's been going earlier now since it sounds like the holdout is ending for him. There's Devontae Smith. So there's a lot of players here. I think the only wide receiver that we will actually see available that I would like is Garrett Wilson. So at that point, we're talking about probably going running back. I don't hate grabbing Allen or Hurts. I don't think I'm going to do it. I will probably not do it if that's your strategy. If you want to lock down that quarterback spot so you don't have to worry about it one bit, I think picking fourth and then coming back obviously at 21, I think that's a pretty good spot to do so. But for me personally, I'm not really doing that. I'm looking at running back. I'm guessing Jonathan Taylor will be there. If you've listened to our other shows, there's just way too many question marks with Jonathan Taylor. I don't think I can do it. Like, is he traded? Is he on IR? Is he on NFI? Is he just holding out? I don't know. He's acting erratically. He's acting just really weird. Like, there's just no way to predict anything that Jonathan Taylor will do. Like, and on top of that, it seems like he's hurt. So I don't like it one bit. The running back we'll probably go with would be my guess would be Tony Pollard. I don't think the Cowboys are going to bring in anybody else for competition. So I'm not in love with Tony Pollard, but as an RB2, you could do worse. If Josh Jacobs does fall there, I'm definitely taking Josh Jacobs. I'm cool with that. Najee Harris, I like. It just feels like a little bit of a reach. However, if we went wide receiver, I would love to take Najee Harris at 28, which is his ADP here. I'd love to take him as my RB2. But if we got him as an RB3 coming back too, like, I don't hate it. So now we're talking about the third round pick, 28. T. Higgins is there. I think if he ends up being a wide receiver 1, I think you're okay. Same with Chris Olave. I've seen him there quite a bit. ETN, I'm not necessarily taking here. Like I said, I like Najee Harris. I like Najee more than I like Ramondre Stevenson. I like him more than ETN. I'm not loving DK at this spot. I don't think you need to take Joe Mixon at this spot. So it certainly feels like a best available position. And by the way, I'm off of Mark Andrews. I don't want Mark Andrews here either. So even if somehow we go running back, and Najee Harris is on the top of my board here, maybe we'll run into it in the mock draft. I don't hate it. I don't hate going 3 running backs in a row. I think we can still build a respectable wide receiver core. And my whole thing is I'm taking best available. I'm trusting myself. And if that player is as good as I believe they are to be, then I can trade them for the position that I need. So if I went 3 running backs in a row and they all hit, which I expect them to because I think I'm very good at this, and I think you should think that as well, especially if you listen to the show, then fine. Maybe I trade away that RB2. Maybe I trade away the RB3 for a wide receiver who is very good. So that's why I prefer the best available strategy. I prefer to just adapt and just, float around, move around the draft like that instead of saying, oh my God, I have 2 running backs. I need to get a wide receiver this pick. I think if you lock yourself in a box that way, like I just think you're giving up too much value. I think you're going to screw yourself in the end. So Najee Harris, I like here. Chris Olave, I think you could do. T. Higgins, I think you would do. Out of that list of 3, I do think Najee Harris is on the top for me. Now, we would be coming back at 45 then for pick number 4. I have seen Kenneth Walker fall. Joe Burrow. If I took Joe Burrow here, I don't hate it. I'm probably not going to do it, but or Hurts or Herbert or Fields. I think this is another spot that you absolutely could take that next tier of quarterbacks. You could take one of them. Again, I'm not sure if I'm going to do it. If they fall into my lap in the 5th round at 52, then, maybe I'd do it. But at 45, I don't think I'm going there. TJ Hawkinson, I think, is certainly on the board for me. However, if I went running back, I am praying DeAndre Hopkins falls. If DeAndre Hopkins falls, and right now his ADP here on fantasy data is 47, so at 45 certainly could be available there. I'm fine if DeAndre Hopkins is my RB or wide receiver 1. I'm totally fine with it. And then coming back at 52, Jerry Jeudy could fall. Christian Watson's there. I don't love him, but that's fine. Drake London, if he's my wide receiver too, that's fine. Mike Williams, I think's okay. So there's options here. There's also running back options here. Miles Sanders, J.K. Dobbins. I don't want Cam Akers, but Alexander Madison. So there's running back options here as well that I think you could look at. Miles Sanders is good. I've seen George Kittle start to fall a bunch because he's, hurt already. He has a groin injury. I'm not overly concerned by it. So if he falls to 52, that's an area I don't mind as well. Would I rather have Hawkinson at 45 or Kittle at 52? I think if I took a balanced approach to start and I went, let's just say 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver, I think I would prefer Hawkinson at 45. However, if I went 3 running backs, I really want to get a wide receiver. If there's a good value there, I would like to get a wide receiver at 45 and then Kittle at 52. I think that works. I think that works pretty well. We'll talk about one more pick here, and then we will actually do a mock draft to put all of this in action. So after 45, after 52, coming back to 69, we are looking at, I've seen James Conner fall a bunch. If he ends up being the RB3, I think you're fine. If he's your RB4, obviously even better. Brandon Ayuk, I think, is fine. Christian Kirk. Luke, who's on the show all the time, loves Christian Kirk. I'm more indifferent just because I don't trust touchdowns to come to him. So he's more of a wide receiver 3 for me. I would certainly put Ayuk ahead of him. I feel like he's in a similar boat as Deontay Johnson. So whatever you think of Deontay Johnson, I think I would apply that to Christian Kirk for the most part. Javonte Williams here, though. Javonte Williams at 69. Holy shit. I would love to get him. I would love to get him here as an RB3, as an RB4. Wow. And he actually might fall to 76. That would be our pick after that. He might fall there. So there's value in this section of the draft. And again, do not lock yourself up. Do not be like, oh, I got all of this position. I can't take this position anymore. If you took 3 running backs, you feel like you got a good wide receiver 1, then absolutely pull the trigger on Javonte Williams as your RB4. Who cares? Who cares? He should be good this year. I like Javonte Williams quite a bit. And if he is good, then cool. Trade him or trade somebody else for the wide receiver 2 that you missed out on. Upgrade. Somebody took them. They didn't get the running backs they want. They need a running back. They are in your mercy. Because we're going to draft wide receivers we like anyways. Just watch. But, yeah. Just draft the best player available. That is the strategy. Do not lock yourself up. If there's one thing you come away with from the series is be adaptable, draft the best player available. Okay? Let's put it in action here. We are on Sleeper, PPR, 12 teams scoring. As you can see, we have it. So Jefferson, McCaffrey, Chase went 1, 2, and 3 like we have been talking about. So let's resume the draft. Let's go Austin Ekeler. Oh, it didn't go. There we go. If you are listening, audio form, go to Flurry Sports, the Flurry Sports YouTube channel. You can watch the visual mock draft if that helps you out a lot. I will do my best to describe everything, though. But yeah, we got Austin Ekeler at 4. We come back around and actually, so Garrett Wilson didn't fall. Garrett Wilson went 2-5. Mahomes fell quite a bit. He went 1 pick ahead of us. I think that is a little unrealistic. But the player who did fall is Josh Jacobs. So Josh Jacobs fell to us. I don't need to think twice about it. I'm taking Josh Jacobs. Cool. Ekeler Jacobs. I feel great. I feel absolutely great. And now our 3rd round pick, I was kind of hoping Olave would fall, but Devontae Smith is there. Obviously, we've talked about Devontae Smith quite a bit on the show. And he's a player that I just can't figure out. I can't get myself to trust him, but he had the production last year. It was slightly inconsistent, but he had the production. This pick for sure for me is between Devontae Smith and Najee Harris, but I do think I can get running backs I really like later. I feel so confident in Ekeler and Jacobs that I want to go Devontae Smith here. And I may still come back around here in the 4th round and grab DeAndre Hopkins as my wide receiver too, which I believe would be a massive win. So we shall see what happens. We're here now, 4th round pick. Amari Cooper went just ahead of us. DeAndre Hopkins is there. Top of the draft board is Kenneth Walker, Justin Fields, George Kittle, Justin Herbert, DeAndre Hopkins, Terry McLaurin. So yeah, I think I'm going DeAndre Hopkins here as my wide receiver too. I like it quite a bit. So our team is Austin Ekeler, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Smith, DeAndre Hopkins. And with our 5th round pick, George Kittle is there, Justin Herbert is there. I don't love wide receivers DJ Moore or Jerry Jeudy. I would lean Jeudy over Moore. I don't love Miles Sanders. Let's see. Yeah, I don't overly love the players available to me on the board. Do I like... So, this is a weird spot because it's not the end, but you still have to wait quite a bit. Do I like George Kittle more than I like Darren Waller? I don't know. Rankings out later this week, by the way. I will have an answer for this by the end of the week. But as I sit here at this current moment, I want to reach for Darren Waller. Reach, quotes, whatever. It's kind of a reach, kind of not. I'm going to go Darren Waller. Darren Waller over George Kittle. Now, George Kittle there, completely fine. For the sake of this mock draft, we're serving a similar purpose, right? We're taking a tight end here in the 5th round. Is what it is. I just like Darren Waller right now. He is clearly the focal point of the Giants offense, and he's not hurt currently. Will he get hurt at some point? Probably. George Kittle, he's already hurt. Will he get hurt again at some point? Probably. But I think when they're healthy, I think both of them will be elite tight end options. Now, 6th round. We went pretty balanced so far, actually. 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end. The world is our oyster. We can do whatever the hell we want here. I don't mind going James Conner. I don't mind going Mike Williams. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go Mike Williams. I prefer him to Michael Pittman and Ayuk. I'm going to go Mike Williams, and then I'm going to hope I can grab Javonte Williams with my 7th round pick. And I can. Cool. So I'm going Javonte Williams over Rashad White, over Isaiah Pacheco. David Montgomery's here. I also like him. But yeah, let's go Javonte Williams as our wide receiver, or as our running back 3, as our flex, whatever you want to call it. And for bye weeks, we've actually done pretty well, but I don't, people who have watched or listened to me, I'm not a massive freak outer, stressor, whatever of bye weeks. I think if I have to lose 1 week, fine, because I'm going to win the rest of them. That's just my mindset. Now we are in the 8th round. We have some doo-doo here, but I will probably be going Michael Thomas or Brandon Cooks. Aaron Rodgers is here. Anthony Richardson's here. I might go Anthony Richardson in the 9th. I don't hate going Samaje Perine in the 9th since we just grabbed Javonte Williams. I think that's a smart pick to lock up the backfield. I probably won't with this current draft, but what I will do, it's between Brandon Cooks and Michael Thomas for me. I'm going to go Michael Thomas. So he's our wide receiver 4, which feels like a good place to be. And then I think I'm going to go Anthony Richardson as my quarterback. Obviously, other quarterbacks here. There's some decent ones. I don't mind waiting for Jared Goff or Geno. And something I've been doing quite a bit for the actual teams I've been drafting, right now for the teams who have an IR slot. I've been picking up Kyler Murray with one of the final picks. He is currently on the PUP list. So if you have an IR slot, he's probably IR eligible for you. So you could draft him late, put him in that IR slot, and pick up something else. So we will try to do that later. And that gives us a little bit of security with this rookie quarterback here. But I'm going to go Anthony Richardson in the 9th. I think he can surprise some people with his arm a little bit. And he is clearly a freak athletically. So I think he can do quite a bit of damage on the ground for us. He is a high upside, high risk, high reward pick there. Now we are in the 10th round. Little refresher. We have 4 running backs. We have 4 wide receivers. We have 1 tight end, 1 quarterback. We are as balanced as you could be. In the board ahead of us, we have Allen Lazard, who I think is a little bit underrated. There's H.A.N. I don't want. There's Jerick McKinnon. I don't want. Geno, we don't want. Adam Thielen is probably the pick. This is also a spot you could take that first defense off the board. You could go San Francisco. I'm not going to do that, but I don't hate doing that. That would be round 10, round 11, round 12. If you're looking to take one of those top tier defensive options, that's where you're looking. Today, though, I'm not doing it. I will go with this pick. Okay, never mind. I was going to say I regret the Darren Waller pick a little bit, but I don't. I only was thinking that because I saw Sam Laporta, and I love Sam Laporta. I'm going to go Adam Thielen in the 10th as our wide receiver 5. You see running back, kicker there. I don't think the kicker is going to go yet, but I could see defense going that early. Now round 11 here. Another player I like. I think he's high upside. Well, actually, there's quite a few guys here. We'll just take a little trip through them, I guess. I like Ezekiel Elliott. I think he's the short yardage guy in New England. I think he still has some tread left on the tires. I think he's going to be relatively valuable, and he's a handcuff, obviously, with upside. I think he has a week-to-week role where he can score points for us, but obviously if Ramondre Stevenson goes down, he is a RB2, I think, pretty securely. So I like that. Elijah Mitchell is a similar player to that. He's not short yardage, but a similar role in terms of week-to-week value, and then could skyrocket if the guy ahead of him gets hurt. Same with Tyler Algier. Sam Laporta, I love. I think he's a top 12 tight end in his rookie year. Tank Bigsby is the short yardage guy, the rookie in Jacksonville. I like him a ton. And then Romeo Doubs, I think, could be the wide receiver 1 for fantasy foot purposes in Green Bay. Obviously, Packers fan here, Packers insider here. I think Romeo Doubs is more skilled than Christian Watson. I think Christian Watson has the physical gifts that Romeo Doubs does not have, obviously. I think Christian Watson's upside is higher, obviously. But I think Doubs is more skilled. I think he's more polished at this point in his career. And he very clearly has chemistry with Jordan Love. So, I mean, would you rather overpay for Christian Watson or take the wide receiver 1 a little bit later? That's kind of what I see with the Packers receiving core. I don't think either player will be outstanding this year, but I do like Romeo Doubs. I might risk it and see if he drops to 12, to be completely honest, just because we just went Adam Thielen. I will go running back, and my running back of choice will be Kenneth Gainwell is still here too. Man, I'm going to go Ezekiel Elliott. I think he's very clearly the short yardage guy. Not that he will be exclusively the short yardage guy, but I think he's going to see quite a bit of carries in the red zone that will be fruitful for fantasy purposes. Coming back around, we have 4 picks left for people keeping track at home. Romeo Doubs, all those guys I talked about are still here. At this point now, by the way, let's talk about a little bit of strategy. If I am drafting today, August 21st, my strategy is different today than it will be a week or 10 days down the road. You look at this draft board for the people just listening. What I'm going to be pointing out is that almost every team has taken a defense. Almost every single team has taken a defense. I don't want to be the last person to take a defense. So again, maybe I pick one of those defenses earlier so I have an elite option. Or if I'm the last person to take a defense, I'm probably streaming defenses, right? So do I really want to spend a 12th round, a 13th round pick, hell, a 15th round pick, the last round pick on a defense that I'm just going to stream? Probably not. Everybody else already has their defensive pick. There's a pretty high likelihood that no one's going to be making moves at the DST position. So what I want to do, again, August 21st, we're heading into, said that with a lisp, heading into the third preseason week. I'm picking a guy with upside. I'm picking a guy who could skyrocket in ADP, skyrocket in value because of a massive preseason performance, because of where he ranks on the depth chart when those come out, because of an injury ahead of him. Those are the guys I would much rather take than a defense that I'm probably dropping before week 2. Like, there's no reason to be the last person to take a defense. Don't be a follower, except for if you're following Fantasy Football by Committee. Shameless plug. Please do that. Or Flurry Sports. Both. Not or. And. Yes. Anyway, we are taking, with our 12th round pick, we're just going to start going through the guys I like. I'm not taking a defense, and I never take a kicker. So let's grab Romeo Doubs to start. Again, I think he could be the wide receiver 1 in Green Bay. Okay, coming back around, I really like Sam Laporta. Let's take him. Darren Waller isn't exactly the most durable player of all time. So there's a chance something happens before the season, and now I have a backup tight end who I like a shit ton. Quarterbacks going right now in the 14th round. Russell Wilson went in the 14th. That seems really late for him. That's a good value there. Bryce Young. The quarterback I'm taking in the 14th is Kyler Murray. Again, you saw he's on the PUP list. After the draft, if I have an IR slot, I'm going to put him on IR and just pick up another player. That is, we're playing 4D chess right now. If Kyler Murray gets cleared before week 1, which he won't, but if through some miracle that he does, there's probably going to be another team here that wants to trade for him. Or maybe I play him, or he's a nice security option if Anthony Richardson doesn't pan out for me. So I love that pick. And with our final pick, we will be going, I like Jonathan Mingo. However, I'm probably going to go running back since we ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs so far. We will go with our 5th running back here. This is what I would do if I drafted today. Again, Kyler Murray is going on IR after the draft. That opens up another draft or another roster spot for me. I'm going to draft Kareem Hunt. He currently does not have a job. Jonathan Taylor could be traded. He could be put on IR. He could be put on the NFI. All kinds of things. And maybe the Colts sign Kareem Hunt. He's immediately their RB1. And he's immediately a flex value at the very least. So a 15th round pick who could be a flex value. I absolutely love it. So I would do that. Then I put Kyler Murray on IR. And then I'm probably picking up, where is he? He was just here. Kenneth Gainwell. I'm probably picking up Kenneth Gainwell, who's been getting RB1 snaps in Philadelphia. I would either do that, or I would pick up Zamir White since I have Josh Jacobs. If for some reason something weird happened with the holdout, then I have the RB1 Zamir White. Or if Josh Jacobs comes back and gets hurt immediately, I have Zamir White. So that is what I would do. But for now, we go Kareem Hunt. And our final team then building around Austin Ekeler at pick number 4 in a 12-team PPR draft. We have Anthony Richardson, Austin Ekeler, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Smith, DeAndre Hopkins, Mike Williams, Darren Waller, Javonte Williams, Michael Thomas, Adam Thielen, Ezekiel Elliott, Romeo Doubs, Sam Laporta, Kyler Murray, Kareem Hunt. Kyler Murray goes on IR. I pick up somebody else. that somebody else probably gets dropped prior to the season to pick up a kicker. And then I drop somebody else for the defense. Again, no point in drafting the defense that I would be picking up since I was the last or one of the last teams to pick up a kicker or draft a kicker. Like, it's just going to be the final pick anyway. So who cares? We will leave that empty. Or I'm talking defense. Sorry. I don't want to be the last person to draft a defense because that's just a player I would be picking up off waivers anyway. Kicker. I never draft a kicker, especially this early. Kickers are relatively all the same. You can stream kickers a lot easier than people think. Follow along with Fantasy Football by Committee, and I can help you stream kickers this season. But there's no reason to draft a kicker. Draft a player, again, that has high upside, that can vault up draft boards, vault up values if he has a good performance, if a player ahead of him gets hurt, etc., etc. Do not be drafting a kicker at all. And that is how you build a championship team around Austin Ekeler. Couple small things you can do that mean a big deal to us. Subscribe to the show, whether you are watching on Flurry Sports, if you are listening to Fantasy Football by Committee on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Good Pods, Audible, one of those many things. Subscribe, rate it 5 stars, especially if you're on Apple Podcasts, or if you're not on Apple Podcasts, go over there and do that. We are currently on the leaderboards, and I would like to bump up quite a bit for fantasy football. This show should be on leaderboards. We should be trending. So please do that. It'll take a couple seconds of your time, a couple clicks, and it could truly change the future of the show if you do so. Also, go to Facebook if you have a Facebook account. Join Fantasy Football by Committee. It's a Facebook group, and there you can ask questions, you can answer questions, you can read articles, you can listen to our podcast, watch our videos, all kinds of things. All of that happens in that Facebook group. And I'm hoping to build the best, most positive fantasy football community on the internet. Twitter used to be that. Twitter's taken a shithole dump. It's obviously not even called Twitter anymore. So there, Fantasy Football by Committee. I'm hoping to build the best Facebook group to help you win your drafts this year. So please go join that, subscribe, and we will be back tomorrow drafting a winning team around, who would it be next? Cooper Kupp? No, we won't go Cooper Kupp. We'll go Travis Kelce tomorrow. I want to talk about Travis Kelce. So look forward to that. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and we'll see you then.